Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Twist Gaming. We are here live from Origins 2018, lovely Columbus, Ohio, continuing our awesome convention coverage, and I am pleased to bring to you guys Mr. Patrick Leader from Leader Games. Patrick, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
So what have you brought to show us today?
So today I have I have a prototype of Vast the Mysterious Manor, which is the game we currently have on Kickstarter right now. Leader Games has it on Kickstarter right now.
Very exciting.
Root was done, and that's the printer. We had nothing else to do. We got bored, so I finished working on Vast the Mysterious Manor and started getting ready for
Bored
Kickstarter.
as a game designer? I can't imagine.
It was a tough month, but I got through it. So
Awesome.
yep.
So let's flip over, check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Vast, the Mysterious Manor, is a lot like Vast the Crystal Caverns. It is for 1 to 5 players, like Vast the Crystal Caverns. It has very similar role structure in that the paladin character here is hunting the spider, who's the monster. The skeletons on the wings here are hunting the paladin. There's 5 skeletons: Casty, Screamy, Stabby, Slashy, Shooty, and Stabby. I don't think I covered Stabby.
Those are the best.
We tried proper nouns for the skeleton characters, and they just didn't catch on. So we're like, we'll go back to just what they do, what their jobs are. Yep. If you're at Origins, go you can get a selfie with we have a life-size Casty in our booth, and you can.
Speaking of Casty, there's a little green screen there.
Yeah.
But there he is.
Yeah. And so the 2 games are compatible with each other in that, like, for instance, the yellow character, the paladin, could be substituted for the knight in the Mysterious Manor and vice versa. So you could have the paladin in the cave also if you wanted to.
Okay.
Or even play it as a standalone game. We are guaranteeing the balance of this standalone game. As you start switching roles, you might run into some weird situations, which we'll try and cover. But there's over 1,000 combinations at this point of 5-player games.
That's a lot to try and test out and ensure a good balance.
Yep. So the paladin's hunting the spider. The skeleton's hunting the paladin. The giant spider is trying to get out alive by harnessing her terror, as we're calling it, and then getting out. The Manor player itself, if you indulge me here while I get a piece out, the Manor player itself is trying to complete, if you want to put that up for the camera, is trying to complete runes on these cards. So that the squares there are a series of tiles, and your Wraith piece, which is right here, has to walk through those a lit version of those tiles without any eruption, without any other characters getting in the way. But he has the ability to scare other pieces out of his way too, so he can kind of empty the tiles in front of him. But there's a cost to doing that. So
I know that this is very pro tip. Can we just take a moment to point out that that's fantastic?
Yes. And some of the cards also say Flavor Town.
That's amazing.
We decided not to work on the flavor text until we're certain the card's going to make it.
Placeholder. I mean, I think that's really great.
Yep.
Okay, so the haunted house, you're trying to get your wraith through this particular pattern here that's on the card.
Yeah, yep.
Okay, so how do you go about doing that?
So you'll have to reveal the tiles. You'll have to have enough tiles revealed, and see if we can. We'll do this all live. This will be fantastic.
Gonna do it live.
Fantastic cinema here.
Yes.
So for instance, we're almost there. Almost got it. If all these tiles were empty and you started, here's the wraith. You could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And get to the end of that passage, and you would have completed this for 2 points.
Excellent.
And then whenever you complete it, you leave a poltergeist behind. And why that's important is because all the tiles have to be empty. And so by completing paths, you're ruining other paths, because now that poltergeist is in the way of completing other paths.
You can use that tile for another path because of the poltergeist there.
Until the paladin comes by and beats up the poltergeist for you, or until the spider eats it for food. So, yep.
All right.
So
nice
then there's a little bit of push-pull there, because then you decide, well, I could benefit from killing the poltergeist, but then I'm going to allow the wraith more open spaces to
complete their patterns.
Yep. So there's also an enchanter. We were power leveling right before the convention, meaning we weren't satisfied with the design of the enchanter, so we started over like the week before the convention. I'm very happy with how he turned out. His boards aren't ready yet, but right now the enchanter bids with he starts a bid every turn, and the players pay for it in curses that they receive from the enchanter. And the enchanter has 44 curses in a little bag. And when there's dire curses, 11 of those are dire curses, and when those 11 dire curses are in play, the enchanter wins. The rub of all the bids is that if you are the player with the most dire curses at that moment, so let's say you bid 5 on your turn to take a benefit from the enchanter, and you draw 5 from the bag and you have 4 dire curses. If you have the most dire curses, you can't win until you get below threshold where you have the most
How do you
curses.
get rid of dire curses?
You can attack the enchanter, and every time you do, you return a curse to the enchanter. So,
Okay.
and then stop bidding.
Don't pick up more.
Yeah, you do have to bid. You're obliged to bid at least one, but you can try and get below the other players that way. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So Mysterious Manor is kind of a standalone expansion to
Mhm.
Crystal Caverns,
Mhm.
essentially.
Yep.
What am I going to get out of either game?
Uh, Out of either game?
Yeah.
Oh, so our goal is we've learned a lot as a studio, and with Root we learned a lot about how to do usability testing and how to make a better play experience with the graphics. And so and I think it really paid off. I think people are getting into Root much easier than they were with Crystal Caverns, and so we're taking the same lessons we learned in Crystal Caverns in Root and moving them forward into Vast. We've made all the roles. They're a little bit simpler to learn, but they're a little bit that gives you a lot more decisions you can make, and so that makes the game a little bit deeper if you're willing to dig in and get deeper with it. So,
Sounds good.
yep.
Who's going to be the target market for this game?
I would say if you look Crystal Caverns and you're looking for kind of like a little bit deeper challenge, that would be a good starting place. Like I said, I think with the play aids we're building, with the sample plays we're building, and the way that Root has like leads you through a game. For the first few turns, we're going to build similar documentation for Vast Mysterious Manor, and that will, I think that'll help new players get in there
So
too.
the game is kind of teaching you how to play for the first couple of rounds or so.
Yeah, yep.
And then you're
And then you're let go and you can finish it. Yeah, yeah. So,
at the mercy of the game.
yep. It'll also be compatible with the Fearsome Foes, which are the 2 extra roles that we added in the expansion. The Ghoul and the Ghost will have cards that'll be appropriate for merging with Manor.
Okay.
Yep.
That's really cool. What's the age range for the game?
Well, box is 13 and up. I think John Liu from Geek Dad has had success with his 10-year-old playing the game just fine. So, my daughter plays it. She's 5. She likes to put the tiles down. So, but yeah.
Seems,
So
seems
you get
pretty
something
fun.
out of it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's fun and it's cute, so I can definitely see the appeal there.
Mm-hmm.
Any other changes that you made with Mysterious Manor? Any other interesting points that we need to make sure that we talk about?
Yeah, so we sawed off a lot of the little things. Like when you flip over an event tile in Crystal Caverns, you're supposed to mark it until the knight gets to it and has an encounter there. And we took that out because it's just one little thing to remember. So it's the things like that we've been cutting out to help. The skeletons, compared to the goblins, which are equivalent in the other game, the skeletons are always in play instead of having to build up and come into play. So sometimes as the goblins, you'd have a turn where you would just kind of build up and not do much that turn and move on to the next in your turn. And the skeletons are always respawning during the game, throughout the game. So they're always on the board and they're always in motion. So that at least you feel like you're always having progress every turn. So I think that's a pretty significant move forward.
Okay, very cool. So with all of the roles, how many players does the game play up to?
This is 1 to 5. There'll be solo variants. We assume for the Manor, definitely for the Paladin, definitely for the Spider, and definitely for the Skeletons. The Enchanter will only be in 3 more players because of the way the bidding works. And then if you wanted to, you could use the 6-player rules from Fearsome Foes or 7-player rules from Fearsome Foes to go past 5. If you enjoy downtime, which I think a lot of people do. No, I'm kidding.
I'll go get myself a coffee. I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah. No.
What changes for the one-player variant?
So for 1 player, that is still being developed by my developer, Kyle Wolfel, who's the Vast developer.
Okay.
I know that he is working on, for the Paladins game, he's working on making the skeletons a little bit reactive and a little bit automated, so it feels like you're playing the 2-player game with the skeleton player. Also from the campaign, we've added, as stretch goals, we've added an alternate hero, the Armored Knight.
Okay.
And then we've added 3 more skeletons, so you can mix which 5 skeletons you have in place. There's 8 skeletons in all. And then we're adding another monster at 480,000, which we'll see if we get to. We're kind of lingering around 310 right now. We're not complaining, but it's been an interesting week. And And once we add that monster and the skeletons will form. There'll be new gameplay where one player will play the skeletons and that monster, and the other two heroes, the armored knight and paladin. The armored knight's like a more mature knight from the first game.
Okay.
They will be a team and they'll be fighting each other in
That'll be really
kind of a deeper battle mode for two-player. So.
Very, very cool.
Yep.
Could you do that as a 4-player as well, or is that specifically as a
You could definitely do that as a 4-player if you wanted
to
to.
do teams or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that?
to do team play.
Very
yeah,
cool.
If that's what people wanted to do.
So tell me, where can I find out more information? Obviously, this game is live right now on Kickstarter.
Yep.
And when does our Kickstarter close?
Our Kickstarter closes on the 26th of June, around 7 o'clock, I think. So we have about 10 days left to back. Yeah, that's where we're at.
What kind of pledge levels are on the Kickstarter?
So on the Kickstarter, we have a of course we have the $1 and $5 levels, for people to follow. Retailers can get in, and we're having a pretty good deal for retailers. At $75, you get the game, the miniatures, and then all the stretch goals will be an expansion called the Creepy Corridors.
Okay.
You get that for free with the $75 pledge. And then there's a $210 pledge that can, like, if you don't own anything Vast, you will have everything Vast after that pledge goes out.
Perfect.
And after the campaign's over, after the pre-order campaign's over, the expansion will no longer be free. Well, that'll be a separate retail item. So for that $75, you get miniatures for all the characters. That will come standard this time. You'll get the standees for them, and then we're doing a $10 add-on for people who still want the wood. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. So do you have an idea? Obviously, with Kickstarters, delivery dates always are subject to all sorts of conditions.
Right.
But do you have an estimated delivery date goal that you
Yeah.
guys are aiming for?
So I've definitely missed them before, but
Everybody does.
Root we're on schedule,
Okay,
and
the nature of Kickstarter.
so now that I have a staff, it's much easier to predict like timelines, and we also did the miniatures ahead of time instead of after the campaign was over, since we needed the money to pay the guy to make
get
the
the
miniatures.
miniatures.
Yeah, but now we had money left over, so we were able to pay him before the campaign. And so those are done. So now that's not going to be the bottleneck it was last time. And then he also had a family emergency, which took him away from the project. And
Things happen.
things happen. Yep. And so with a team working on it now, I'm very confident we'll have it out by March.
Oh, it's very exciting.
Yeah. Yep.
Very exciting.
Yep.
Well, Patrick, thank you very much for showing us Vast. Was there anything else you wanted to make sure our audience knows?
Root will probably be at Gen Con, our Kickstarter from last September. It just loaded on the boat last night, and we'll have it at Atlas Games, who helps us do our fulfillment. We'll be all hands on deck the couple weeks before Gen Con to get it in the mail, because I don't feel good about selling it till people start getting it.
Absolutely.
And at least if it's in the mail by then, I'll be okay selling it. So
What is the price point going to be at that game for people that will be at Gen Con looking for it?
So for a Gen Con, it'll be $60 for the base game, $40 for the expansion, and I think we've debated it so much. I know we have a coupon in the book, like you get a pin or something else if you bring the coupon.
Cute little bonus.
Yeah, a little bonus. So we also have a plush raccoon from the game for $20 at the convention. So
It's really cute.
yeah, it's very cute. My daughter, when she sees the office, she picks it up and carries it around the whole time we're there. And I'm like, I'm sorry, honey, you have to leave it here because it's the only one we have. But, well, I'll get one when we get the rest.
You can have one from the box, I promise.
Yeah.
Oh,
So.
that's great. Patrick, thank you so much for coming on and sharing
welcome.
your time. I know you're super busy, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.